Hello folks, let's take a look at another Monster Kid toy from the 60s. This is the Creepy Crawlers set by Mattel from 1964. And first, we will examine the very cool box. It's actually the box top, but it's got all the graphics on it. And these wonderful graphics are burned into Monster Kid brains all over the world, including mine. This came out in 1964, as I said. Here's the side panel. And that one. Of course, this is a Thingmaker toy. It's the first Thingmaker toy, which was just a heating unit, really like a hot plate. And it used plastic goop. You poured the plastic goop in, put the mold in the Thingmaker, which heated it up, which caused the plastic goop to turn semi-solid and rubbery. And these things last forever, pretty much. They're just rubber bugs. A lot like the ones we used to get out of the gumball machines back in the day. Okay, let's take a look at the box. Now, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe this is the first version of the box in the corrugated cardboard. Later, they came in styrofoam, and most of them you'll see will be in the styrofoam. So anyway, there's the Thingmaker. I'm not going to take it out because the cord is up under there and it's rolled around and all that, but it just plugs in the wall. It's a heating unit, and here's the little caution paper that came with it. I bought this set from an eBay seller several years ago, and it came with a lot of the original stuff, as well as a lot of original bugs that they had made. Now, as far as these bugs go, they're not all original to the 60s. I made some of them a few years ago, so I'd have, examples of all of them. And then I hung it up. I mean, it's just a collectible now. I just made the ones I made just to have them for later or whatever. So I'd have a complete collection of the bugs, You're thinking big deal, but to some of us when we were kids, this was kind of a big deal. And here's the plastic goop. Now, these are not original plastic goop bottles. As you can see, it's got a website on there, creeplepeople.com. That is a store run by a guy named John Nettles, Nettles, John Nettles. And he is generally understood to be like the Thingmaker guru. And he has that website where he sells these things. And he makes goop, and you can still buy the goop from him, I think. Now, the last time I checked, that website had not been updated for over a year and a half, so I don't know if he's still doing that stuff or not. But anyway, he sells sets that he has reconstructed out of original parts and shrink wrapped, and he knows what makes a complete set. Hardly anybody else does, including me. I know a lot about a lot of these toys, but I'm no expert on the Thingmaker stuff, so I trusted him, and I bought some of those sets that were refurbished by him and reconstructed. So I'll show you those in a little bit here. Anyway, this set came with paint, a couple of bottles of the paint, the red and black. And plastic cement. Plastic cement there, and little plastic knives and a paintbrush. And here's the handle that because these things get really hot. This heating unit heats up to like 390 degrees Fahrenheit. So anyway, the thing's hot, and you put this in here in these slots, and you can hold it up like that without burning your fingers. And yes, we had toys that could be dangerous back then. Yeah, it taught us not to touch hot things. It's part of growing up, folks. Here's some of the extra stuff that came with it, little safety pins and those little bolt things there. Not sure what those are for, but they came with it. And that is a spare mold there. This, oh yeah, here is the cooling tray with a couple of more little warning papers. And here are some of the little clear plastic pieces. Now, some of these bugs, you were supposed to cut out wings, like for flying bugs, like dragonflies and different things, out of these. And here's the cooling tray. You put cool water in that, and after the mold has gotten hot enough, stayed in the Thingmaker long enough to get hot enough, you put it down in that cool water to cool it off. And that finishes the process where the plastic goop sets up and becomes solid rubber. This is an extra one of the molds. Not sure, I guess the guy had an extra one somehow. And let me show you the paperwork here. This is a little Thingmaker booklet that came with the set. Little Creepy Crawler booklet. Yeah, they changed the laws later, safety laws about, you know, hot toys and stuff like that. Not the figures hot toys, but you know what I'm saying. And they basically had it where they couldn't sell these anymore. Because, hey, we don't want people to learn what to avoid so they can grow up and not get hurt, you know. Sorry, I don't mean to sound... Well, actually, I do. I mean, it's kind of aggravating sometimes. They wouldn't let you grow up. And when I was a kid, they let us grow up. You know, we climbed trees and fell out of trees and got hurt and learned and grew up and knew what to do when we were grown. But that's enough of that. And here's order form there, and you know, you could get replacement parts. You could order the plastic goop and different things back then. Of course, aside from John Nettles, I don't think any place, you know, has that stuff for sale these days, and he may not at this point. I don't know if he gave up on it or what, but here is telling how to cut out the wings for these flying creatures out of that clear plastic there. And there's the back. You can tell it's Mattel. It's swell. Yeah, we heard that a lot on the commercials. That was the tagline. And we will look at this. This is Creepy Crawlers collector's case. It's covered in vinyl. Really cool graphics. Neat little monster toy. And yeah, I'm calling this a monster toy. I mean, it's not the Frankenstein monster or anything like that, but monster kids love this stuff, and you know, it went right with the monstering. So now there are some Fright Factory pieces still in there, and this, you know, folds back, and these clear flaps fold back so you can get access to the stuff that's in there. There's a dragon in the upper left there. I think that was part of an accessory pack. I know they had a dragon set, but I think this is part of an accessory pack that had some various snakes and dragons. But anyway, the Fright Factory pieces there, I'm going to do a video on my Fright Factory set and show those then. I just want to show that cool little case there. I keep most of my Thingmaker stuff in there, and the reason it's mostly empty is because I pulled those Creepy Crawlers out to show in this video. And we're going to take a look at those now. It came with 9 molds. There's one of them. Copyright 1964, Mattel Incorporated. And it's got a number on it there. I guess that's the part number of the mold. And adjacent to all 9 of the molds, I've got examples of the creatures that were made in the mold. So I'm going to show some of those. Not all of them, but some of them. Here's a cool octopus in different colors. That had octopus, sea star, crab, and a lobster. And a lot of kids painted there. Some of these are painted. I didn't paint any of the ones that I made, but some of these are painted, like this little crab here. You know, the set came with paint. You could just buy model paint to do it with. And here is an example of the lobster that came in that mold. Red lobster. And here we go with this mold. This is this big, what do you call that thing? Some kind of a toad. Anyway, it's a big lizard looking thing. It's one of the popular ones. Horned toad, maybe? Okay, here are a couple of examples of that. Here's a blue one. I might have made that one when I made a few of these a few years ago. Now here's one of the old ones that the person probably that I bought it from made. Painted. It's got a safety pin in it. I never had a desire to wear these things when I was a kid. I loved to make them and play with them, but I didn't want to wear them, so I didn't use the pins. And there's the others. There's a beetle and a stink bug and another little beetle there. I've got examples of all those there. I'll bring them up to the camera. What the heck? And here is the, looks like a stink bug. And here's the small beetle. Yeah, they hold up fine, you know. I mean, these are however old, you know, the guy probably made them in the 60s. The ones that, you know, that I didn't make here. And they're still okay. I mean, you know, 50 years old or whatever. More. Here's the this mold here with the snake and the centipede and the trilobite, which is cool. That's a fossil prehistoric creature. And another little beetle-like thing. And here they are. Here's a green centipede. There's a black one, and I've only got one of the snakes. It's a rattlesnake. It's got a little rattle on it in red. And the cool trilobite. I made that one, I guess. It turned out pretty good. I wanted a trilobite, you know, because I'm not only a monster kid, I'm a dino kid. I love all that prehistoric stuff. And here's the little one of the little insects that came in that mold. And here is the next one. This has 7 different ones. This is some of the flying ones, I think. That's a dragonfly. Now, when I made mine as a kid, I don't remember cutting out the wings for any of them. I made some of them, but I just played with them the way they were. I might have at some point, I don't know. But it was a bit of trouble. It was a lot more trouble to cut out the wings and fit them on than it was to just make the bugs. There's an example of the dragonfly's body. And there's all the others there. And here's one you can't see because of the camera, the way it's tipped. Okay, here is the frog mold. It's got like a grub and a frog and a shrimp and some other like beetles and stuff. And here's a pretty cool frog. That's original from back in the 60s. They painted that one and put a safety pin in it. Hey, you could wear a frog. Cool, man. And then some other frogs. You know, there's a regular green frog. Here's the grub. Here is the shrimp. I usually hold a piece of black construction paper up to block off the background when I show something up close. But I mean, it's not like you gotta get exact with sculpts on this stuff. You know, they're rubber bugs, so approximations are fine. Here's the Black Widow spider in red and black. There's a black one there too. Okay, now the cockroach mold. A cockroach, a scorpion, a little lizard, and a worm. Earthworm, looks like. Here's a cool cockroach that is painted. Has a safety pin in it. Yes, folks, you can wear a cockroach. And here is the worm. Yep. Don't go fishing with it, it's to play with. Here's a cockroach, another one. And there is the scorpion, of course. Black scorpion. And here's the little lizard. I only got one little lizard in all this stuff. I always liked that little lizard when I was a kid. Now here is this one. It's got, I don't know what that big, I guess it's some kind of a big beetle or whatever, but it's, I'm not sure exactly what that is. And there's a centipede and a tick and some kind of little obnoxious insect there. Here's some of these big critters. One in yellow and a multicolored one with a lot of excessive plastic flashing, rubber flashing around the edges there. And let's see, here's a centipede in black. And a lot of kids brought these to school, you know, to scare the girls, and a lot of those were probably seized by teachers that wouldn't put up with that crap. But I'm sure they have as fond of memories of it as the kids do. And here is a tick. And the lizard rat mold with an ant. Now the rat's a pretty popular one, and these bigger lizards here. There's one multicolored lizard, and here is a lizard in blue. It's pretty cool looking. And there's only one rat here, and there he is. And here's an ant with a whole lot of excess rubber around his legs, and here's a clean one. And the final mold that we look at here, the 9th mold, has a big freaking spider and a bat. This might be my favorite mold. Loved these bats as a kid, and the big spiders were pretty cool. Here's one of the spiders in green and black. Safety pin. Yes, you could adorn yourself with that guy. There's a yellow spider with some green, I guess. Greenish blue. And here's another one in black and green. And yet another one. Somebody got artsy with this one and gave him red. Like the ends of his legs are red, like he's got red feet on the end of his legs. Which looks pretty cool, really. And here are a couple of bats. A black one. And a red and black one. All right. That covers all of those. That's all the critters. Duplicates on a lot of them, but each critter is, you know, there's at least one example of each critter that's been made. And we will look at one of the sets I bought from John Nettles. Now, this is not brand new and sealed from the factory. It's sealed because he sealed it after he completed it. But he repaired these things because he knew exactly what went in them and what he was doing. And there's the beautiful graphics again. And we'll look at it again just because it's so cool. Yeah, when you see these things on eBay, they're usually a mess. People still want a decent amount of money for them, no matter how screwed up they are condition-wise. All right. Now, this is what John Nettles did. This is one of the refurbished, completed examples, all original parts. I don't know about the Plastigoop. I don't think those are the original labels for the... It might be. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I'm no expert on this stuff. But he included everything in these that were originally in them. All 9 molds are there. The styrofoam base is in really excellent condition. I mean, you never see that. Usually the styrofoam bases are just destroyed when you see them for sale on eBay. And you know, there's the handle and there's some wires that you could put in the rubber when you were making them, heating them up. And that way you could have like little bendies where you could bend them and their legs would stay the same. Plastic cement. Here's some of these parts here, the pins and you know, there's the knife and the paintbrush. And most of this stuff is in like new condition. Here's all the paperwork that originally came with it. He would put them on the bottom of the box. Everything sealed in thick plastic. Reorder forms. There's that booklet again. Here's a warning paper for stains from the Plastigoop, what to do, how to get a stain out. And, you know, it's just a really cool thing for people that wanted a really nice set of these. And when I bought these from John a few years ago, I don't know how long he's had his website, but when I bought these from him a few years ago, they weren't really that much. I mean, this set right here was like $160 something, I think. And you know, I mean, he had some that were new that were actually factory sealed, brand new. And those were really expensive, but I thought, man, I just want a good example. I don't mind if it's got a little wear to the box or whatever. I just want a complete example that's not screwed up. And I was more than glad to get these from him. I mean, he did a great job on this stuff. So if anybody wants to check that website, it's creeplepeople.com, I think. And, you know, you might be able to get in touch with him somehow. I don't know. I don't know if he still does it or not. But anyway, that's my refurbished, complete example with all original parts. And another one I ordered from him, giant creepy crawlers. Now this is a maker pack, which means it did not come with the Thingmaker, but it has everything that you need to make the creatures without the Thingmaker. And this has 9 molds as well, but each mold features one bug, a giant bug. And there's the side of that. And that gives a rundown of what all is included in it. And it even had this, like this glitter that you could put in there to make them glittery, you know. Yeah, let me take this out, show you the business end of this. There's the glitter and the wires and the handle and Plastigoop and the whole deal, you know. It's all 9 molds. Now that, I recognize that. That's one of the extra pieces in that goes I had in that section with the dragon. That's that snake. So I could have pulled that out for this. And likewise on this, there's the paperwork that came with it. Giant Creepy Crawlers with your Thingmaker by Mattel. Now this came out in '65. This was a year later. And there's replacement parts. I think this is dated '67, so this is a later version of the sheet. Probably the same sheet, it just came out a couple of years later, you know. It's still original and all that. And there we go. I love how he sealed all this. You know, you can turn it around and look at it from any angle, and it doesn't mess anything up. Plastic goop sealed. It's not going to spill or anything. So that covers Mattel Creepy Crawlers. Pretty much covers everything Creepy Crawlers oriented. And I'm going to make a video about Fright Factory next, I believe. So stick around on this channel if you like this stuff. I'm out.